Hello everybody, ciao a tutti and welcome to Art with Ms.B. Today I woke up with the snow, which means that in Utah Valley winter officially started and I feel so very inspired and so cozy inside the house. So what is the best thing to do on a snowing cold day? When it's so cold outside, you get a hot cocoa inside, right? So today's project is inspired by the weather. As you know, I love to connect and link the projects that we do to something that we can observe in our life, something that is part of our daily routines. And through this project, I'm going to review with you some basic element and principle of art and design. We're going to learn about different techniques and media. And for my younger beginner, I'm going to guide you step by step so you can kind of get yourself able and ready to do more advanced project. For today's project, you need a mixed media paper, Bristol paper, watercolor paper, whatever you have available that is a little thick. I have a 9 by 12 pad and I cut the pages in two, so you can use, you can make more projects out of the same pad, and we have something that is not too small but not too big, so we can finish it together in a reasonable time. I'm going to use a pencil for drawing, I'm going to use a colored pencil, and then once again oil pastels, because I got so many beautiful positive feedback, and I think that is the media that we're going to keep exploring, and I think that is, I'm pretty sure, I don't think, I'm sure that is one of the best media for young artists and beginner to explore texture, blending, to experiment how some color works that work very well together or not at all. So get yourself ready. In the description box, I will add like all the list of the materials that you need to use, and get yourself comfortable and ready to start a new practice with me. Okay, friends, here we are with our paper ready, pencil for drawing, colored pencil, and pastels. So we are going to make a nice small drawing of a mug with inside hot cocoa or anything that you like to drink in a cold winter day. And with this one, we're going to introduce the shape of the ellipse, which is, if you're a beginner and a young student, think about a stretched oval. This type of shape is going to allow you to have the mug look more three-dimensional, right? So it's going to allow you to do a more realistic piece, but most of all, something that, gives more interest and dimension to your piece. So very slowly, with some of the dynamic lines that we have been learning in the past, we are going to create these long oval, more or less in the center of the paper. And I didn't it's not completely straight on the paper, so I'm gonna adjust that. Remember that you can go over your pencil line as many times as you want and need, also because we're gonna color the whole thing, so it's gonna be fine. Then we are gonna shape the mug. You can do it two straight parallel line if it's easy for you, or you can kind of create a bump, so curved lines instead, one side, then the other side. And then to close it here, instead to close it with a straight line, we're going to respect, right, the ellipse, so the top line, and we're gonna do basically the same. In doing this, rounding up the top and the bottom, you already create this idea and illusion of three-dimensionality. Now, you do you, as always. You can have two handlers, you can have a one, whatever you would like. Maybe you have your favorite mug nearby and you can observe and copy that, or you can just do what I'm doing. And remember, we are not focusing on the perfection of the drawing of the mug, because we are going to color it with colored pencil in the background, oil pastel. We are going to focus on the texture of the pastel, so you don't have to worry at all about the perfection of the mug, if it's realistic or not. And then we're going to place our mug on a table, right? So you go with the line, both sides, and once again, doesn't have to be perfect. Now, let's create a pattern. So let's review the element of pattern that give our project a rhythm, repetition, something like a movement, right? You can do whatever you want. I think that I'm going to go for diagonal lines, not too close to each other, so they allow me some checker kind of design. They don't have to be perfect because once again, we are not focusing now on that one. So we just need this design to allow us to use the pastels and the pencils. So to focus on the technique that we want to explore today. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. If you feel that you want to do something different, go for it. If you feel that you need a ruler or anything to help you with straight line, go for it as well. And one last. Then I'm going to color the background with nice colored pencil, just because I want to have a texture here that is very different from the texture that I'm going to add on my mug, which is going to happen with oil pastel, that, as you know now, they give you a very thick, rich texture, which is perfect. So our mug will look like it's popping up from the background. So you take your time and find the relaxations in coloring with the pencil. You can use the colors of your choice. We have been doing many practices about colors, so now you all know. And if you need to review them, if you need to look inside your portfolio for the projects that we did together about the colors, do so. And we did a project talking about the color wheels, right? The primary colors, the secondary, the tertiary colors, the complementary, which sit opposite on the color wheel. So remember that you can always look back at the project that we did together, or if you think that you want to watch and speed up the video again, you do so, and then you come back to this practice. Remember that I want to imagine that you kind of read the description box or your parents for you, you get ready with your materials, and then we start and we practice together. But sometimes I do understand that each one of us is different, like a pace to work, different needs. So remember that this channel, you can use the video the way that you think is most effective for you. And if you're doing homeschooling with your children, or you just want to do some art with them, you will modify the practice as you need and as you wish. If you do not have oil pastels, you can do the same practice with different media. Of course, the final result is going to be a little different because crayons, for example, don't have the same texture that pastel have. And I like to turn around my paper, which is something very common in left-handed people. So we avoid to carry all the colors, around with the side of our hand, which is something, a struggle that all the left-handed know very, very well. Remember that when we color, we want to go with nice, short strokes. We want to have something that is cohesive, something that looks like smooth and well done, something that is not too scrabble, as I like to say, to rough. We want something nice. So fill all the gaps. Every time that your hands get tired, you can stop and then resume. You can have, as I said, as many colors as you want in this background. I think that I'm going for 2 colors on the background, and then I'm going to decide little by little along the project what I'm going to do with the table. Keep going. Outlining the shape that you have to color inside is a good way, so you stay inside the space without going outside, and it's also for you a nice way to kind of realize what you have to color with that specific color and when you have to switch. Mostly, as I say, my video are a little bit for everyone, specifically and particularly for young students, beginner, and so parents who are homeschooling. So you really want to have the foundation and the basic, so you're going to be able to assist and guide your kids during this project, as I would do, and as I do actually, in fact, with my younger students in school. But if you are more an advanced student, you can ignore all the explanation about the ellipse, all of these like more technical and foundations, and you can just enjoy this project, because sometimes it's good to set a moment for yourself just to do some art, like a mindful practice, a little like 30-40 minutes that you dedicate all to yourself, doing something that you might enjoy and like. Sometimes we lack of inspiration, so these videos are perfect to give you the inspirations. And then of course when you are like more an intermediate or advanced, you can stretch the practice and do more with it. In the editing, I'm not gonna speed up this moment, although it looks like a repetitive, because once I say, I say before, as I say before, like some people I know they want to practice with me, so I'm setting a good pace. If you go slower if you need to. If you want to go faster, you go faster. If you want to speed it up yourself, you can speed up this part of the video and then go back to normal when it's time for us to do the oil pastels. This is why I will leave it the way it is, like with real timing and real speed. So each one of you is really free and able to do what best fits your need and what you like to do. Let's make sure that everything is nicely colored, that there are no gaps. When you're happy about it, you're gonna switch for a second color. This orange is really, really cute. I like the pencil because they come like in dual color and they allow me like to just with one pencil to the job of two. And I think that these two colors stay, they support each other and enhance each other very well. And I'm going to repeat basically the same with my orange. And you will repeat the same with your second colors. If you want to use it multiple colored, have fun and do so. So cute. This pattern reminds me like a kitchen in the 50s. And I love the vintage stuff, so it's perfect. It's also very, very warm and colorful, and it's perfect because outside, now the color palette, the beautiful color palette of the fall is gone because, as I say, we had the first snow today. So now for, quite a long time, we're going to have a very neutral and cold color palette. So it's good to have some warmth in here. I personally love the winter, like I love to have a four season. At one point in my life, I lived a couple of years in Miami, Florida, and honestly, I didn't like the fact that the weather never changes and it's really hot and all the time. I like to see the change in color palette, the change in natures. I feel that helps me to pace my own life experience. Some people I know that they struggle a lot when the winter hits, the place where they live. And actually, using colors is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful therapy that you can just allow yourself to practice. And almost done. So in this exercise, you were able to review straight lines, geometrical lines, and geometrical patterns, and patterns through colors, alternating two colors. If you alternate them more than once, it's totally fine. It's the same concept that we add the movement and interest in our piece, adding a pattern, right? And also we are learning about the line of the horizon, like the division between a foreground, which is the bottom of the paper, a background, which is the one that we are coloring right now, and the emphasis of the main object that in this case we place at the very center because it's just one. So it's a sort of a still life composition, focus on one element, which is the mug. So you see, every time that you do a project or you're guiding your kids to do a project, invite them to gently review what we have been learning together, what they have been learning in previous project. So you make it more meaningful, right? Now the background is done, and I really love the fact that even pencils, since I use them in different directions, give us, although they are very neat and no gaps, they give us that idea of a little texture that is going to be extremely different from the texture that now we're going to do into the mug. So once again, you do you and you choose your own colors. I'm going to go for something very bold and bright. I'm going to start with the red pastels. Remember, pastels are very different. They are very rich. We did a couple of projects before. If you didn't do it with me, go back and check out this project because they're going to definitely help you. We are going to blend them and mix them together so you don't need to scrub too much or too hard because it's not necessary really. So I'm going to set one basic color everywhere on my mug. So it's going to be mainly red, but then as we did in the past, we are going to overlap and mix with other pastels and see what happens. I'm gonna do gently also inside, make sure that you're still able to see the shapes, the shape of the, mug. And then let's see what happened. I'm gonna go with the lighter one and I'm gonna start. You decide the way that you want your lights to hit the picture. If it's from this side of the mug is gonna be lighter, this one darker. If it's from this side is gonna be lighter, this one darker. Gonna go lighter. And then I'm gonna teach you also a trick that we can create texture scratching on top of the crayon. The pastel. It's gonna be super, super, super cool. And you can do with a scratching tool with a toothpick or just with a pencil. That's the beauty of oil pastels. We don't need fancy tool to work with them. And on this one, I'm gonna try something darker. There you go. Sort of a purple wine color. Back over here on top. And I love, love, love the texture. And here we're gonna make it darker and darker. And now, of course, depending on what you're drinking, you can do like in hot cocoa. It has to be really like a, if you want to add marshmallows, do so. So you see, you just do it a little bit inside to symbolize like the hot cocoa, the liquid. You don't have to do the whole way. You want to have the colors of the mug in the back, front, darker side. The lights in my picture is coming here, and that's it. You're gonna have fun with that. And then with a scratching tool or with a toothpick or with the same pencil, I'm gonna add a nice texture to my mug. I'm gonna scratch out basically. You see the pastels? You cannot probably, let's see if I can put this closer to what I'm doing. And focusing. There we go. Go. Pretend that you're drawing with a toothpick, basically. And I'm gonna do the same vertical lines on top of my mug. Oh my, I love to scratch out. This technique is called it is called graffiato. In Italian is graffiato, which is actually an Italian word that means scratched. Now you have this one, you're gonna clean it up on a piece of paper or whatever you have available. And you can do the same, you can scratch maybe with a little different, just to add some nice texture. It's very nice. It looks like it's really, a pot. I'm gonna scratch. And then I'm gonna scratch the back as I did in the front. I'm not gonna scratch any texture in in the center where I color my hot cocoa. I'm gonna leave it like that. And if you want to go and add more, you can also scratch it on top again. So nice. and then you're gonna clean up your tool and leave it there. Now for the table, you can do whatever, any color that you want. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna kind of connect and link this nice turquoise green over here. I will do the same, one coat. Try your best not to go over the mat, but if that happens, honestly, it's not a big deal. I love when the pieces are not super perfect. I love when we see some original imperfection, some personality. We don't have to do like everything exactly the same, everything always so clean and neat. Honestly, I love artworks made by kids and young artists just because they just go with the flow, and since they are still developing their skills, something might not come, perfectly designed or colored, but actually those pieces look much better, right? It's a little bit of like Picasso used to say that, Picasso was able to paint like Michelangelo, like Donatello, but still he wanted to find some authenticity, and he really wanted to remember how he used to paint when he was a child, free of all the formal instructions. So kids, just go for it. Make sure that you understand what you're doing, make sure that you know your element, make sure that you know the difference between a media and another, but then also make experiment and do you. Don't worry about the perfection of the shapes, don't worry about if you have some accident overlap, just do you and enjoy while you do so. Gonna mix this one over here, nice. And we're gonna make this side a little darker, as I say, and some nice overlapping that will make this coat of pastels thicker, because then if you like the scratching, we can have fun and do some more. Gonna add just, let me see, this one is the darkest, and I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. Some black. I'm going to kind of reinforce a little bit some darkness, like in the shadow, the casto shadow, which is the shadow that the object reflects on the surface, right? And when we alternate the value, remember when we did exercise about value, we learned that giving like a dark, going from lightest to darkest, give us movement, interest, and an idea of three-dimensionality and depth to our piece, so don't be afraid to do so. You can do that as well. Very gently. You see, I'm gently tapping my black. I don't want it too much. Now, it's really up to you. Also, if you want to do black outlines, probably I want, and I like it this way. But it really, once again, you do you, because it is your piece. So you want to make sure that you make your experiment and you engage with the piece the way that you want to. And remember, if at the end you don't like the result, it's still a practice. You look at the practice, you say the practice, and you say, okay, the next time I'm going to do this differently, the next time I'm going to try this, or the next time I'm going to do exactly the same because it worked out exactly as I wanted to, or even better. Remember that the beauty of art is that we know we have a picture in our mind and we know where we want to start, but sometimes, most of the time, on our paper something different appears. And what are we going to do with that? Are we going to throw that away? Are we going to No, absolutely. We're gonna keep experiencing, exploring it, making experiments, and see what happens. And if you had fun and you wanna do some scratching and add a nice texture to the table, you're gonna do exactly what we did before. And remember, friends, I'm just using the scratching tools from actually clay just because I couldn't find my toothpick. But go with a toothpick, even with a fork, or with a pencil, or with a pen that doesn't work anymore. Just, any tools that you can find. I'm gonna actually include this. There you go. I love it, love it, love it. Nice. You see the scratches? I love it. And now when the color is gonna be darker, it's gonna be even better. You can see more. And even if you think that it's not changing that much, but I think that still add a little more texture. Look how cute. I'm gonna clean up. There was a lot. And keep going. Clean it up. Find a scratch. Scratch, scratch, have fun. And now one final touch, because this is gonna be a very hot cocoa. We're gonna grab the white, a white pastel. We're gonna do some nice smoke coming out. Look how pretty. And with the white pastel, gently, because want to be able to see the texture underneath. And my goodness, it's all done. I'm gonna add a little piece of, like, just a few touches of, I love to add some light with the white itself. Love it. Love it. And some nice idea like of smoke on top of our cocoa. And this is all done. Let me see if I can just place the camera a little further. And this is our piece, my friends. I'm gonna switch the camera so we can say goodbye. And I hope that you had fun reviewing all these different techniques and different elements and combine them together. Okay, our practice for today is done, and I hope you liked and you enjoyed. I personally love the color palette that I chose, very warm and bright, completely opposite to what I see outside right now, but also reference to the cold, the winter, and how we can welcome and embrace this season, who definitely brings its challenge, but through art we can always, filter and elaborate, basically, and approach things differently. I personally love the touch of smoke with the white, and I hope that it was nice for you to learn something more about oil pastels. We reviewed different elements that we did in the past with previous videos, such as lines, patterns, so repetition, rhythm, and movement. And now we add the ellipse, so a new geometrical shape that is going to be fundamental for you to learn how to give depth and three-dimensionality to just object on your paper. I love the fact that we scratched with the scratching tools that I forgot to say in the introduction, but it is included in the description box. So I hope that you will practice with me many more. A good idea, if you want to and if you like, you can have other 3 paper like this one that we made together and create a 4 mug, different in shapes, in colors, in design, in background, and then combine them together in a poster. It's going to be a beautiful pop art piece. I did it in school, and I combined all students' mug that, it was just gorgeous. Once again, I love oil pastels because they allowed us flexibility and room for experimenting and blending and overlapping and really feel the texture. I know that they are messy, so make sure that you clean your spot very, very well, and you help your parents to clean up if they have been practicing with you. And I see you soon with another video. Ciao a tutti!